Hello, my name is Madeline Payne, and today I'm going to take you through my online learning experience, which is called Hablar. My target audience are seventh grade Spanish students, and this is to help them practice for the speaking portion of their final exam. I noticed that my students were struggling with Spanish speaking and they were worried for their final exam. So I started to draft this prior to their final exam, and I'm looking forward to using this next year in my seventh grade classes to help prepare them better for Spanish speaking. So my learning objective is posted here in the welcome slides, and you can see the list of learning objectives for each day. But my main learning objective is that students will be able to speak at a novice mid-level without these fades based on the actual proficiency scale. So New York State suggests that seventh grade Spanish speaking students should be at a novice mid-level by the end of the school year, and eighth grade students should be at a novice high level. So I'm preparing them for both years of Spanish speaking. So I'm going to take you through my ideas and my concepts for creating this course. I will take you through a quick walkthrough. So each day, students have a video walkthrough to complete, and then they have some note vocabulary. So this is what the note website looks like. It has the vocabulary listed, and each student will practice with one of these activities each day. There is then a speakable activity. So this is where my scaffolding comes in, which I will talk about later on, and they will practice this. So students click will hear the speakable say the word, and I will practice it. Buenas tardes. And it says I did a good job and gives me that feedback. So my theories that I used in this are behaviorism as one because of the constant immediate feedback. So you can see the same thing in the quiz. So when students answer these, there is a correct answer, they will get that feedback. Same thing with the speakable. I can put a rubric right into speakable and it will give them immediate feedback based on their level and tell them what they are doing well, where they can improve. Same thing with the Blookit study set. So each day there's a Blookit or a Gimkit. If they get an answer wrong, it tells them that it's wrong. If they get an answer right, it tells them that they're right. So I love that students are getting this immediate feedback so that they know where they are and if they need extra help or what else they can do to prepare themselves for their speaking. I also am using cognitivism by activating prior knowledge with the vocabulary. And then they have their in-class session, which will be the modeling, and where I can help guide them through conversations. And then the online portion is that independent practice. And each day there are different activities that students will be doing. So here's another one. This is a Mentimeter, so they will have to use the join code to come in, which will create a word cloud for them. Another activity that I have students doing is with their grammar, which we do in class for this blended environment. So the cognitivism is really using Bloom's taxonomy and helping students achieve higher order thinking through that prior knowledge, through activities in class, through modeling guided practice, and then this independent practice. There's some slides that they can do. There's self-reflection. So there's a lot of different theory-based ideas within this design. My methods and strategies are backward designed. So I created my learning objectives first, and then I built upon each of those. As you could see from the welcome slides, here are all the learning objectives. And I created the assessments, and then I went in and did the vocab and what activities I wanted to complete online. I also am differentiating. So in class, we're going to have different groups, and each group will be students who are around the same level, so we can have rich conversations, or I can help those groups that need a little more guidance, and maybe they will have speaking cards that they can go off of. So I want to help each group individually grow with their Spanish speaking by differentiating for them. There's also scaffolding. So with my scaffolding, I have the speakable assignments. So the first one is a pronunciation practice. The next one is answering questions with Spanish sentences. So this one has guided response. So I gave examples for what I wanted with their speaking. So as you can see, it says mi clase favorito es, and then they will add the word. So that's how these ones are. For the next one, it's the same setup as the last one, but there's no example. This one is a conversation. So this gives tasks for full tasks with goals. If you start the conversation, it'll give you a sentence, I would respond, it'll give another response, I will respond, and we keep going until I reach all these conversation goals. Same thing for the next one. And for this level, it's novice low. For this level, it's novice mid, which is where they should be by the end of this course. And then we have the reflection activities. So each day there is a self-reflection for students to reflect on their own learning. So I'm confident with the vocab, I'm confident with the grammar, I'm confident in my speaking abilities, and then questions and concerns. And finally, there's autonomy. They can choose what they talk about. They can choose in what order they go in. It's gives them a lot more freedom. So UDL plays a role in this course as well by giving students that choice, how they want to set up their family tree, who they want to talk about, what class is their favorite. They're talking about themselves, which makes it easier for them to speak. This creates a low stakes environment for speaking because they are not speaking to their teacher and they are not speaking with their peers. So it allows them to be more comfortable with this speaking activity. And finally, my integration is, my design first is organized day by day, as you can see, and each activity is labeled. It also goes in the order of how I want students to complete the activities, but they can go in a different order if they feel more comfortable in doing that. There's also the different platforms that I already went through, which was important to keep a variety and to keep students engaged with this online learning activity. And finally, my integration is a blended experience because it creates a diverse experience for each student and allows them to interact with the material in a way that best suits them. So this is supported by Bates in their text, as well as the flexibility that Bates discusses in his text. And I also like that they have some structure in the blended environment because they are seventh grade students, and a fully online environment is not the best way for them to learn. So we have the in-class, more constructed environment, more constructed teaching, and we have the steps through cognitivism in class, whereas on their own, they have a little bit more freedom and that flexibility that Bates is talking about in his text. So overall, this is my Spanish speaking course. I'm hoping that students will achieve that novice mid level by the end of the school year, which I can assess on their final exam, as well as through their pre and post assessment. And I can get feedback from them through the self-reflection. And at the end here, there is teacher feedback that I can use to help create a better course. So overall, I'm really excited to see how this looks in a real teaching environment with my seventh grade classes next year, but I'm looking for some feedback to make it stronger before I even implement it with these seventh grade students. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate your feedback.